Hands. Put the phone down now. Sit. Lay down. Lay down. Lay down. Put the phone down.
The disturbing images released today.
Hey guys, Mike the Cop, and did you know that the news now considers it disturbing when the police chase a car at over 100 miles an hour away from the scene of a potential shooting at a mall, only to end it with completely appropriate and peaceful ending use of force? I'm calling out the hardcore BS from this kind of news story, and I'm calling out the parents in this situation, and you'll see why. Because a mom is suing the police departments involved in this pursuit because they handcuffed her baby boy for less than 2 minutes during a tense and dangerous situation. Let's walk through this footage off the news and see what you think.
By police show how the entire scene played out last month during a shooting investigation at the Briarwood Mall. Tonight, 7 Action News reporter Simon Shaquette shows us both sides are speaking out about what happened and what, if anything, should have gone down differently.
You know, the police didn't just decide to randomly terrify an 11-year-old boy. Hey, Jim. Hey, you want to go make an 11-year-old boy scared today? Now you're talking. No, this was a response to a shooting at a mall. You know, where people are trying to kill each other. Cinnabon ain't what it used to be.
Hands.
It's a frightening scene playing out on body camera video, released only to 7 Action News.
Put the phone down now.
Pittsfield Township Police providing backup on a 100+ mile-an-hour pursuit away from a shooting scene at Briarwood Mall. After the driver stopped, one officer shouting commands at an 11-year-old boy who's exited the passenger seat of the car in Ypsilanti Township.
Lay down. Lay down. Lay down. Put the phone down.
Why would they yell at an 11-year-old boy? Don't they carry Legos to hand to him when they get out of a felony stop so he can put them together and stay calm? You know, and since this is happening in Metro Detroit, now would be a great time to remind everyone that Nathaniel Abraham, at age 11, shot and murdered an 18-year-old boy, his victim. It turns out in this case that neither of these people were involved in the shooting despite fleeing from the police. But just because he's 11, does that mean his tiny little 11-year-old finger makes the gun less dangerous to himself, to others, or to the police if he were to have been involved?
Seconds later, the boy is told to stand up. The officer has put away his gun, and he's placing him in handcuffs.
Are you okay? That's fine. These come off just as easy, all right? Are you okay?
Yes, I'm okay.
You mean the cop had the nerve to put handcuffs on him and let him know they could come off as easily as they just went on? He even asked him if he was okay? The nerve of that guy.
Roughly a minute and 40 seconds later, the cuffs are taken off. The child is given back his phone to call his mother.
Do you want to call your mom?
Yeah.
All right, we can call your mom.
The officer then steps away and returns with a cold drink from his cooler moments later.
You want a Gatorade or a water?
Gatorade.
All right.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yes, one could hardly ignore the sheer feeling of terror that 11-year-old had as he had his choice of beverages and thanked the officer for that. You know, it's almost like the 11-year-old isn't the problem.
All the while, the child's father, whom police say was not involved in the mall shooting on April 16th, is detained on active warrants for an alleged drug offense and traffic violations.
We might be onto something here, folks. We might have found it.
Scary ordeal is now the focus of a federal lawsuit being filed by the child's mother. She says she intends to hold police from Pittsfield Township and Ann Arbor accountable.
Held accountable? Held accountable for trying to stop a potential shooting suspect, then engaging in a dangerous pursuit to make sure that they were apprehended if they were involved. And it turned out that the dad shirked all of his responsibilities as a father and a human because he had already been charged with crimes that he refused to be man enough to face. Hold accountable for that? Listen, lady, the only way you're holding the police accountable for this is if you legally change your name to the police.
He was exposed to something that he wasn't supposed to be exposed to. They didn't even let me know that they had put my son in handcuffs.
Yeah, the 11-year-old was 100% exposed to something that he shouldn't have been exposed to. But you know who exposed him to it? Baby daddy. Mom who trusts baby daddy to hang out in a car with her son, who's gonna drive at 100 miles per hour and put his life at risk to get stopped by the police? And excuse the officers for not pausing long enough to just track you down and give you a buzz in the middle of this to make sure it was okay that the scene was safe. They needed your opinion for that, so to make sure that they weren't going to get sued from your dumb, idiotic self.
There's no way this 11-year-old was a suspect in the shooting. There's absolutely no way.
Hey, good news. The defense attorney says there's no way he could have been a suspect in this. We're good. The logical conclusion here is the police are terrorists. To recap here, guys, the reality of the situation is, yes, it turns out that whatever this shooting situation was, the police responded. In the process of responding, a vehicle took off and they gave pursuit, believing or could have been believing that this vehicle may have been involved in something because it was leaving the scene at a high rate of speed. They involved themselves in this pursuit. It ends peacefully, and it turns out that dad was just running from the cops because he's a lowlife who is not courageous enough to face up to his past decisions. Therefore, the only people that should be sued in federal court are the parents. The crazy thing about this is the cops literally did everything they possibly could have done right, and they are still gonna go through the stress of having this federal lawsuit hanging over their heads. And it is stressful in an already stressful job. I know because I've been there, and it is ridiculous. That's why things like qualified immunity are actually really, really important, because if you could be personally sued and you're putting everything that you've ever worked for as a person, for you and your family and your loved ones, when you can be personally held liable for doing everything right and you're still wrong, that's a problem. I hope this case is thrown out and recognized by whatever judge whoever's desk it crossed as the bull crap that it is. Those are my thoughts. What are yours? If you like the content that I've been putting out, guys, please like it, comment on it, share it up, subscribe, hit the notifications, whatever. Later.